Hi everyone. So I am Dr. Vijay Bhaskar Reddy, Associate Professor at Department of Chemistry. I am handling the environmental science subject. So previous class we discussed about the biotic and abiotic components and their energy flow transformation in the different tropic levels. So today going to discuss about the overview of the topics are biogeochemical cycles, nutrient cycling, carbon cycle, one of the important cycle, carbon cycle, and carbon dioxide effect on the global warming. So these two are interlinked. So we discuss today is the overview of these three topics. Now coming to the first, what is the definition of the biogeochemical cycles? So generally there are a lot of minerals will be available in the air, water and soil. So these minerals are called the reservoirs. Air, water and soil are called the reservoirs. So minerals will be available in the air, water and soil that will be movement to the living components like a biotic components like a plants and animals, and then back to the reservoirs is called the nutrient cycling or biogeochemical cycling. Simply say a minerals present in the reservoirs like a water, air, soil, that will be movement from the living components through the living components, plants and animals. That is called the nutrient cycling or biogeochemical cycles. In other words, say biogeochemical cycles are in a very ecosystem. The sunlight or solar radiation will be accepted by the plants, that converted to the energy. That energy did not transfer through the ecosystem. Only nutrients like carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, whatever the essential elements, macro elements and micro elements, these only movement through the biotic components and abiotic components through the reservoirs is called the biogeochemical cycles. Now coming to the nutrient cycling. So what is the nutrient cycling? Here the movement and recycling of essential elements are called the nutrient cycling. So what are the essential elements? These are the very important elements, play the crucial role in the plant and animal metabolism. So there are 16 elements are there. These are the essential elements. So plants cannot grow without these 16 elements. So means these 16 elements play a crucial role in the metabolism. These 16 elements are further classified into the macronutrients and micronutrients. So macronutrients are carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur, calcium, magnesium, potassium, chlorine. And what are their roles in the metabolism? For example, is the carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. These three will play crucial role in the preparation of the organic compounds like carbohydrates, fats, cellulose, starch in the photosynthesis. So nitrogen will be mostly involving in the protein synthesis. When the proteins will be synthesized, nitrogen will play the crucial role. Phosphorus will play the crucial role in the DNA, RNA synthesis. DNA and RNA synthesis. This will be the crucial element play the metabolism. And sulfur also involved in the protein synthesis. And calcium mostly involved in the cell wall development. And whatever the cell wall is there, that will be development during the process. This calcium essential element is involved. Magnesium mostly is the present in the chlorophyll. Their role will be the absorption of solar radiation and do the photosynthesis process. And finally the potassium and chlorine, these two elements majorly involving the regulating the osmotic pressure. Regulate the osmotic pressure in the metabolic system. Now coming to the micronutrients. Micronutrients, iron mostly involving in carry the oxygen from one cell to other cell. So remaining manganese, zinc, copper, these three elements involving in the activation of enzymes through in the photosynthesis process. So activation of enzymes during the photosynthesis process, these three elements like zinc, manganese, copper involved. Is a molybdenum will be involved in the nitrogen cycle. So now coming to this one is whatever the carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, this will be plenty available in the atmosphere. So that's why these are not growth limiting factors, because is a plenty available. Carbon will be available in the form of the carbon dioxide. Hydrogen will be available is a water and oxygen is the combination. Some of the organic compounds, this will be available in the plenty. That's why is a not growth limiting factors. Now coming to the some of the growth limiting factors are the phosphorus and sulfur. These are the major growth limiting factors of the involved in the environment. Now coming to the what is the soil degradation. This soil degradation majorly disturbance of the flow of nutrient cycle in the environment. For example, if the soil will be degraded, is the nutrient cycle will be disturbance will be happen. So what is the soil degradation? Soil degradation means quality of the soil will be depletion happen is called the soil degradation. So why soil will be depletion happen? What are the causes for the soil depletion? So there are four major causes for the soil degradation or soil depletion in the nutrients. First one is the soil erosion. Soil erosion. The second one is the over cultivation. When the over cultivation in the earth is that nutrients will be depletion happen. That is also cause for the is a nutrient cycle will be disturbance. Third one is the deforestation. Deforestation. Third one is the deforestation. Is a over cultivation, soil erosion, and over fertilizers will also is causes for the nutrients is a degradation will be soil degradation is happen. So this is the soil degradation. First coming to the next point is that this soil is the most important environmental media for the completion of the biogeochemical cycles. That's why we must know or aware of the what are the soil origins or soil layers. So we discuss go for the next slide is the soil origins. In this slide there are soil origins is there. Soil origins is there nothing but a distinct layers present in the whatever different layers in the soil is called the soil origins. Is the first. So this will be distinguished based on the color, based on the texture, based on the structure. These layers will be identified and those are called the soil origins. The first and foremost is the layer is the O origin. So generally these will be covered with the organic matter mainly containing the loose leaves, twigs and some of the organic compounds and some partially decomposed of the organic debris. This matter will be covered with the O origin. So generally this will be identified the mostly in the appeared in the color is the black color or dark brown color. Black color or dark brown color will be there. That is called the O origin layer in the top one. So next below layer is the A origin. So this will be called also called the zone of leaching. Zone of leaching. So means in this one a rich source of the organic matter will be present. Lot of mineral content will be present in that layer. Lot of minerals means whatever nutrients like carbon, hydrogen, is the manganese, boron, molybdenum, zinc, magnesium. These are all mineral content will be rich source in this B A origin. So this layer is the more petal part of the soil. Is the this soil is called the A origin. This is the more petal soil layer, that one A origin. Next below soil sublayer is called the zone of accumulation. In this one mostly compact between the harder and is a very compact between the upper layer and lower layer. In this one containing the mostly clay and soluble minerals will be present in that layer. That is called the B origin. Is a further below sublayer is called the C origin, is also called the weathered rocks. In this containing the mostly rocks will be there. So from this layer only soil will be generated. That's why C origin is also called the parent material. From this only is the soil will be reproducing or generating. The soil which was derived. So when derived means during the rocks will be weathered or minimally weathered. So finally last one is the D or origin. This is also only is a bedrock. In this one loss of the silicates, there is no silicates absent. So sand will be very less and clay particles will be very less and iron whatever minerals will be very less. Aluminum also is a very less. So in this containing only is the rocks present in that layer is called the D or origin. So this is the important for the how understanding the nutrients cycling. So major role is the soil origins. So go for the carbon cycle. So first cycle is the carbon cycle. So carbon is the very important element and backbone for the all life on the earth. All life on the earth, because is the from the carbon only all organic compounds are prepared through the photosynthesis, like carbohydrates, fats, cellulose, starch. These are all organic coming matter is coming from the carbon only. That's why carbon is the backbone for the life on the earth. So what is the carbon cycle? So carbon cycle means this is a natural process, In this carbon cycle is a carbon atoms moving from the atmosphere to living components and living organisms, so like animals and plants, and then soil or earth, and then go back to the atmosphere. So this cyclic process will be involved in the carbon atoms, is called the carbon cycle. So means whatever the carbon atoms will be first moving the atmosphere to living components like plants and animals, and then go for the soil, and once again enter into the atmosphere, is called the carbon cycle. So in this one carbon cycle, these are the steps will be involved. Is a photosynthesis, consumption, respiration, decomposition, fossil fuel formation, combustion, and oceanic absorption. These are the steps involved in the carbon cycle. First is the photosynthesis. Is whatever the atmospheric carbon dioxide. Here the atmosphere containing the lot of carbon dioxide will be there. That carbon dioxide will be utilized. Plants can synthesize the lot of organic matter. Organic matter like organic compounds, carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. The different organic matter will be prepared in the plants by using the atmospheric condition of the carbon dioxide and solar radiation and water. So in this carbon will be accumulated in the plants in the form of the carbon in the tissues. In the plant, different cell tissues are there. That carbon will be accumulated in the form of the carbon compounds. That is called the photosynthesis process. In this one, solar radiation generally used the visible radiation 400 to 700 nanometer will be utilized. So magnesium, one of the nutrient cycle element, essential element, play a crucial role during the absorption of the visible light to the conversion of the organic matter. So that is the photosynthesis. So means all organic matter will be incorporated in the tissue form in the plants. So when the consumption, next stage is a consumption. When the animals will be consumed, the plant materials containing the organic matter or organic tissues, that completely is transferred or incorporated into the animal bodies. The carbon compounds are all will be incorporated into the animal bodies. So that is the consumption stage. When the respiration, both plants and animals, during the respiration process, respiration means taking the oxygen and liberate the carbon dioxide. So both plants and animals during the respiration process, the atmosphere release the carbon dioxide in the once again back to the atmosphere, is called the respiration process. In this respiration process, mostly is the food will be a breakdown. In the food process is a breakdown, and during that carbon dioxide will be liberated into the atmosphere. So that once again coming to the carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, that process is called the respiration. In this process, both plants and animals are involved. Now coming to the decomposition. Decomposition means when the plants and animals after taken the decomposed or died, that one decomposed and coming to the carbon enter into the soil, that is called the decomposition. Fossil fuel formation. So after the over long million years or billion years, these plants animal will be accumulated in the earth crust in the higher temperature and the higher pressure conditions, that will be slowly converted into the different fossil fuels like a coal or petroleum, or natural gas, etc. So many fossil fuels will be formed from the compounds, organic compounds, because these all plants and animals containing the carbon compounds in the form of their different compounds is there, that will be converted or transformed is the coal, petroleum and natural gas. So this is the fossil fuel formation. Combustion. When the fossil fuel will be once again utilized for the internal combustion engines of the automobiles for the energy generation. So once again carbon dioxide will be coming into the atmosphere during the combustion of the fossil fuels. That is the combustion process. Some of the mostly is the oceanic absorption, means is the significant amount of the carbon dioxide will be absorbed by the ocean water also. So that will be accumulated in the form of the some of the rocks. in the form of the some of the rocks. This is the process is a carbon atom that a cyclic movement like a atmosphere to living components like a plants and animals that will be enter into the soil and once again back to the atmosphere. In the carbon atoms are moving in a cyclic path is called a carbon cycle. In this one these steps are involved. This is a carbon cycle. In this next slide is going is for example weathering the rocks. So whatever rocks in the earth crust on the earth surface also contributing the carbon dioxide enter into the atmosphere. So once again carbon dioxide will be coming into the environment. In the recent years is the carbon dioxide levels are increased in the atmosphere due to the burning of the fossil fuels in the internal combustion engines. This will be caused for the imbalance in the natural cycle, whatever the natural cycle, and nowadays world is a major facing problem is the global warming and greenhouse effect. So what is the reason? Here is the one of the data collected about the carbon dioxide levels. Here is the 10 years ago is 2014 recorded the carbon dioxide levels in the environment 401.57 ppm levels are there, parts per million. So 1 year ago is the 425.18 ppm parts per million is a carbon dioxide is there in the atmosphere and the environment. So last week data is collected is the 428.15 ppm carbon dioxide recorded. So means every day by day is the carbon dioxide levels are increased in the atmosphere. That will be causes for the imbalance of the natural cycle. So this generally carbon dioxide mostly is a man-made activities is a fossil fuel combustion or burning for internal combustion or energy generation. So that's why the carbon dioxide levels are drastically increased from the day to day. So that is the comparison between the 2014 to recent data. So what is the effect of the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere? That is called the greenhouse gas effect or global warming. So for example here this is the greenhouse gas effect or used is a heat trapping process. So caused the gases such as carbon dioxide, water vapor, methane, nitrous oxides, these are all will be absorbed the long wave radiations in the atmosphere. The whatever globe will be warm. That is called the greenhouse gas effect or global warming. So in this one sun will be emitted the whatever is the short wavelength radiation and long wavelength radiation are all combined is transformed to the earth surface. Is the short wavelength will be absorbed by the earth surface and emit the long wavelength radiation like a infrared radiation. So that will be emit in the atmosphere. The atmosphere containing the various gases like a carbon dioxide, methane, chlorofluorocarbons, ozone, nitrous oxide, these are all will be absorbed by the long wavelength radiations like a infrared radiations will be absorbed and slowly heat up or warm up. That process is called the greenhouse effect or global warming. Here the major carbon dioxide will be a major contribution to the 56% of the global warming or greenhouse effect. These gases are called the greenhouse gases and whatever the effect is called the greenhouse gas effect. So here the major contribution is the carbon dioxide. So in this presentation we discussed about the different soil origins and biogeochemical cycles of the carbon, and next lecture we discussed about the different ecosystems and their services and biomagnification, taking the one of the example of either DDT or the methyl mercury compounds, a case study we discussed about the biomagnification. Thank you.